Hello everyone. The aim of this video is to talk you through how you can find references to write your scientific paper. Good quality references in your writing will really enhance your work. Your reader is more likely to respect your opinion, to pay attention to your points, if you use good quality references to back them up. If your references are weak, if they are very generic, or if they are aimed to maybe the general public rather than a scientific audience, they are more likely to think, well, this person might not know what they're talking about. They probably don't know what they're talking about because look at the reference they are using. So it is very important that you spend time finding good sources of information. And a lot of the work we do at university and at every year, but especially in your second and third year of degree, is about that, about the quality of your references. You will be judged both if you're writing a scientific paper, if you're writing a company report, you will be judged by the sources you use to justify your points and to build your arguments. So today I'm going to be using library research available at Canterbury Christchurch University, but the type of ideas and thoughts I'm going to discuss could also be useful if you're doing searches in Google Scholar. I'm prioritizing library research because it specifically gives you access to sources that we have access to, and it will save you from finding firewalls and places where you reach and then they expect you to pay for that article. So we'll share my screen now and let's make a start. Wish me luck. I'm going to share the library search page. And I have already logged in. As you can see my name here. And I just log in, first of all, because it just makes it easier. It gives me access to anything we have access to at Canterbury Christchurch University. And when you enter library search, this is what you see. The simple search. However, I always ignore that. I find this is too broad, and I go to advanced search. And here I've got, several things I can choose to perform my search. So I'm going to just start with some general term. Because the paper I'm asking you to write, both papers are related to water analysis. Let's start with water. Water quality, water analysis. I will try water analysis first. And this is the important bit. The format type, instead of choosing any format, I specifically choose journals. So then the search engine will prioritize journals, which is the sort of academic sources that I'm expecting you to quote at this level in your degree. So I go to click advanced search and see what it gives me. And then it gives me, well, loads of results, but I don't really concentrate in the first few until it says end of interfile results, which means these are the results I have access to. And the next thing I do is I have a look at the titles and see, is it worth for me clicking? Something published in the British Journal of Community Nursing is probably not going to be very applicable to an environmental paper. So if I have time, I might have a look at it, but not necessarily. Biomed Research International does not sound quite the type of paper that would, the type of journal that would have a paper on water analysis and environmental context. But it talks about quality, drinking water. So I might have a little look. I can click in the full details or review content and just see what it says. And I wait, and then I read the abstract, and I decide. And that's what I'm mentioning. I've mentioned in other videos how important it is to write good abstracts, because as I'm doing right now, I'm judging this paper, 11 pages of this paper, exclusively on the abstract. Will it be useful to me? Yes, no. Should I move on? So it talks about water quality, structure questionnaire. That might not be very applicable, like the physicochemical parameters. So they also, and not only ask people, they also looked at at the quality of the water, they looked at bacteriological parameters. We haven't done those, but physical chemical parameters, so that might be useful. So I read a bit more and try to spot if they tell me which parameters they are. And I don't spot it right now, but it's brand, types of brand. If I was writing, consumer's preference, if I was writing a paper about water quality, of bottled water, it might be a useful paper. I might keep it in mind, I might file it for future reference, for future use. So it might be useful, it might be not. Water rights, I don't think water rights trading, International Journal of Water Resources. Payments for ecosystem services, again, for the type of information that I'm having in the practicals of water quality, which is the analysis of the abiotic factors, physicochemical parameters of the water, it might not be that useful. 3D printed flow manifold, that sounds like complicated. Potentiometric measurements, I don't know. It does sound a bit complicated. I will have a little look at the abstract and see what I can find. It sends me around to, let's see if it lets me see, or if it downloads the I doubt it's useful, but because I have just started, I'm going to give it a go. See what it is. So what does it tell me? They determine potassium, sodium, calcium, and chloride in water. Okay, so it's a method different to those of you that are thinking of the determination of potassium and sodium ions. For a paper on the determination of potassium and sodium ions using flame photometry, well, it's not flame photometry, but they did determine potassium and sodium. So this may be a useful paper either for as a background reading, or depending on the resource, to suggest another way of measuring potassium and sodium. So again, this is something I would keep in mind for future use. And there it goes. It says it's finished the resource that I have access to. Now, it was okay. I found one paper that it could be useful depending on what practical I'm looking at, and another paper that, yes, again, might be useful depending on how I'm thinking about my work. But the two sources I have found are research papers, and that will enhance my paper. So water analysis was okay, but it wasn't amazing. So let's say water quality. What could I find if I type water quality? And again, I specifically look at journals, and I click advanced search, and Clean Water Act, plant pollution, land economics. I don't know if I can. I might click on it depending on how much I'm needing references. But advancing effect-based surface water quality assessment. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a go and see what it is about, and see if it's useful. See what is me. So again, at the beginning, I tend to use very general search terms, very broad, that describe the type of. It's just about pollution. Don't know. It might not quite be wastewater treatment plants. Okay, so it's talking about an area which is polluted. Nah, I will keep an open mind, but it's not something that at the moment it particularly drags me. So I think I'm going to ignore it, and I might have another code with a slightly more specific. So let's say pH, water quality. And then I start adding terms of measurements I have performed. I might search equipment I have used. Just basically trying to find slowly. Okay, acidic pH and aluminium associated. Oh, That first one, aluminium and environmental concentration. Well, I didn't measure any aluminium, and it feels again I might really just have a look at what it's about, but I'm not really sure that is really related to what I've done. But water quality analysis in this area in India, that actually sounds like, and it's 2020. Paper. So that definitely sounds promising. So again, I focus exclusively on papers. All the resources I'm looking at are papers. And what is that? Look, they measure pH, total hardness, electric conductivity, residual chlorine, and they compared it to World Health Organization standards for water quality. Oh, interesting. So not only it might be useful itself for what the content, the type of results they found, but also it's giving me an inkling of what I might want to do with my results. Compare the parameters I've for my water samples. If you're thinking of, for example, the Handbrook Marshes field trip, and comparing them with World Health Organization standards. Well, I might have to look at it, at what they did, and apply that to my paper, to my results. So this could be a useful paper either for the introduction, but also for the discussion, either using it itself as a reference or using the way they have built their discussion to write mine about my results. If you were interested, for example, in the flame photometer, so we could try flame photometer and see what I can find. Any formal again? No, I only want journals. So that's the key thing. I always focus on journals and see what I find. And wow. So apparently somebody in 2020 applied water samples have determined the total concentration of total sodium and potassium in surface and groundwater using a flame photometer. That would be perfect if I am choosing to write about the flame photometer practical, the determination of potassium and ion and sodium ions. So I will look at that to build my for my introduction or my discussion, depending. I can compare my results to their results, and so another thing I can try to find maybe something about marshes, water quality. And then, but again, sorry, I was using the search everything, but what I want to use is library search. So let's see if I write marshes water quality, if it finds something, and again format journals, and off I go. And water quality, diatom indices to evaluate water quality of this marsh in south of Iraq. And then I will look at those papers and I will think, for example, these people, diatom indices, those are not they are not physicochemical parameters. They haven't probably analyzed pH or nitrates or phosphates, but it can still help me to put my results in context with what other people are doing. The results of the Handbrook Marshes practical, it could still potentially be used to put those results in context with what other people are doing in terms of determining water quality in marshes across the world. So it could be a nice paper, depending on what the paper is about, to talk about my results in the discussion section. So that is all. As you can see, it's a trial and error it's just a case of trial and error, trying different search words, starting with very broad searches about, like the ones that reflect the aim of the practical, the kind of the broad range of the broad area in which that practical, that research fits, and then going into more detail using specific keywords that would define what the research, what the work was about. Another thing I would suggest to do is when you find a useful paper, they use the keywords that the researchers have used in their paper to try to find more similar papers, and that you look at the reference they have used and then see if you can find if you can find them, or if using those keywords you can find similar references that will be useful for you and for what you are writing about. So this is everything. I hope this was useful, and I would love if you let me know by email or commenting in the discussion board if you have any questions or any comments. So thank you very much for watching, and take care.